In this series of video, I would like to present and discuss a few of the reasons why I believe there is a God. And to start out, I'd like to weed out the dishonest atheists. Because if you're dishonest, then you don't want to know the truth, so what's the point of watching? Honest atheists don't exist. If there is one, he or she is confused and does not realize that they are an agnostic. To test this claim, assuming the atheist is healthy and able to think logically, I have to ask, atheist, do you know everything? If you are honest, you will say no. And if you are a liar, you will say yes. If an atheist says yes, then I have to ask this question. Is it possible that of the information that you do not know, there could be evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that there is a God? If you say yes, then you have proven you are an agnostic. If you say no, then you are a liar. Now I have to ask, would you want to know the truth, even if it reveals there is a God? Now I define God as the living supernatural creator of the natural universe, existing eternally, powerful, wise, and knowledgeable, personal, loving, and just, from the evidence, the biblical Christian God. Now on to my reasons, in no particular order. Reason number 1, thermodynamics. I think there's 4 good questions to ask. Either the natural universe has existed forever, exerting work and burning as a perpetual motion machine, or the universe created itself, it came into existence apart from a supernatural creator out of nothing, or it was created by an external source outside of the natural universe, that is a supernatural creator, God. Or is there some other conceivable account for the origins of the universe? Has the universe always existed? Or can I ask, has the sun always existed, which would violate the laws of thermodynamics? Or the sun had a beginning, and it should have burnt out by now? A friend of the atheist, Stephen Hawking, writes this in his book, The Beginning of Time. This argument about whether or not the universe had a beginning persisted into the 19th and 20th centuries. If your theory disagrees with the second law of thermodynamics, it is in bad trouble. In fact, a theory that the universe has existed forever is in serious difficulty with the second law of thermodynamics. The second law states that disorder always increases with time. It indicates that there must have been a beginning. Otherwise, the universe would be in a state of complete disorder by now, and everything would be at the same temperature. End quote. If you don't agree with Hawking or the tons of other scientists who rely upon the second law of thermodynamics, then you should show the evidence and the proof and get it put into a scientific journal. The Big Bang Theory came about because scientists believed the universe had a beginning. And for the most part, that's what most atheistic scientists go by, is a Big Bang. And by faith, they believe order came out of the disorder of a big explosion. Has the universe created itself out of nothing? Or maybe simpler, can a rock make itself? Many scientists say that the universe exploded from an infinitesimal dot. They only complicate the matter. They go from a very tiny dot to a very huge universe. They don't actually answer the question, where did it come from? They just say it always was, really, which you already talked about. That violates the second law of thermodynamics. The first law of thermodynamics states energy can be transformed, changed from one form to another, but it can neither be created nor destroyed. This follows logic and reason. Something cannot make itself out of nothing. So the universe, or a rock, did not make itself out of nothing. Scary thought, isn't it? Ask yourself this simple question. How can nothing become something and then become alive without a creator? Think of yourself. How did you come to be out of nothing? I know the skeptics will say, well, God could not have come out of nothing. Who created God? God could not have existed forever. But you're not even thinking about the definition of God. Supernatural. Eternally existing. So to review, the universe has not existed forever, and neither has it created itself out of nothing, both of which would violate the laws of thermodynamics. If you believe either of those are true, then you believe it by blind faith. So if you believe the laws of thermodynamics were violated to start the universe, then you believe it by blind faith. Otherwise, the only other two options was, did a creator create the universe, or is there some other conceivable account? There is no logical other reason for the universe to come to be. Therefore, God is. Reason number 2, logic and reason. Logic and reason point to a God. Atheists claim that only evidence based upon logic and reason is valid. But how do atheists validate this claim? They cannot, for if atheists attempt to justify logic and reason by logic and reason, then they have based their entire godless worldview on circular reasoning. And we find that rational atheism is an impossibility. And if they cannot defend the foundation of their worldview by logic or reason, they leave themselves only with the illogical and irrational, which accounts for arguments actually offered by atheists. To justify logic apart from circular reasoning, you must seek the foundation of logic outside of logic itself. Thus we learn that apart from belief in God, nothing can be truly knowable. If an honest and consistent atheist could actually exist, he would not claim that atheism is defensible by logic, since logic itself is indefensible by logic apart from circular reasoning. Therefore, on the one hand, if the atheist claims to know anything at all, he unwittingly has shown that atheism, the alternative to God, is an impossibility, because apart from God, nothing is knowable, as demonstrated in this paragraph. A fundamental difference between God and logic is that logic is a system of thought that attempts to rationally justify ideas. And as an idea itself, logic must somehow be justifiable, or found to be illogical. God is not a system of thought that needs to be justified. He is an actual being. And while the existence of logic apart from God is self-contradictory, as just demonstrated, there exists no contradiction in the existence of the rational God, whose very mind and thoughts provide the foundation for logic itself. And while we cannot see God as we cannot see hope or love, God in the Bible defines faith as the accepting the evidence of things not seen, from Hebrews 11:1. Evidence is the key word. Why would an atheist agnostic expect the universe to be orderly and logical anyway, coming from a random chance explosion of nothing?